Color Spray changed in the 2024 Player's Handbook, but how? Today, we will discuss these changes and the best classes and features to optimize the spell Color Spray. Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons, and we are going to do another spell review. Today is a review of the new Color Spray. You will see the legacy version of a Color Spray that's up on the screen right now. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right, let's get into it. Here is the legacy version of Color Spray. Back in the day, we gave this spell a C+ because it had a couple of limits to it, but the biggest limit was that it capped out on what you could use it with and who you could affect. So flashing lights, colors came out. It was a 15-foot cone. It's a first level spell. It takes an action, verbal, somatic, and material component, which doesn't matter. It only lasts for a round. School of Illusion, and you rolled 60-10. The total is how many hit points of creatures you can affect. Creatures in the 15-foot cone are affected in ascending order of their current hit points. So lowest to highest. Starting with the creature with the lowest, each creature affected by the spell is blinded. There's no save for this now, but it's capped by the amount of hit points it can do. And then they're blinded until the end of your next turn. Subtract each creature's hit points from the total before moving on to the next, and it has to be equal to or lower the hit points to affect them. So there's a partial amount left over. Too bad, so sad. Nothing happens. You could have upcast this spell. So when the spell is cast using a spell slot higher, you added 2d10 to the total amount of hit points that you could use to affect creatures. Now, a d10 has an average of 5.5 hit points, which means that you could affect 33 hit points worth of stuff, and you would add 11 hit points onto that for every level. Now, that was, I think this one has a little bit better total than Sleep did in the, when it was the Legacy Sleep, which we haven't gotten to. I believe that one was D8, but it's still limited, so you're not going to, if you're a 15th level character, you're not going to knock a dragon down to nothing at that level, unless your group has whittled it down in hit points. All right, now let's take a look at the new version of Color Spray. So it's first level, one action. It's still a 15-foot cone, verbal, somatic, and material component, instantaneous. This one does have a saving throw, and it is a con save. You launch a dazzling array of flashing, colorful light. Each creature in a 15-foot cone originating from you must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or have the blinded condition until the end of your next turn. So it's still around. That I don't like. It's one round. It's still one round. It's now a saving throw, but it's not capped. But there's no upcast on this either. So, and it's a con save, which is not the greatest save in the world, but it still affects everything regardless of hit points. So I would say we'll move this up to a B- because it took away the cap of the hit points, but it's still a con save. It's the blinded condition, however, is still something that's viable. So let's take a look at that. Blinded, you cannot see, you can't see, you automatically fail any ability checks. It requires sight. Attack rolls against you have advantage, and your attack rolls have disadvantage. That's for a single round, as defined right here, until the end of your next turn. What are some good classes to go with this? Well, it is usable by bards, sorcerers, wizards, and the Illrigger, which is I think that's an MCDM class. So sorcerers and wizards before, now they added bards onto this, which is good. So I always thought that bards should be able to use this, but they did add the bards onto it. Now, what kinds of things in the sorcerer make this good? Well, with the new sorcerer, as we know, and the new sorcerer got much better, we have our innate sorcery. So as a bonus action, you can unleash magic for 1 minute. It increases the DC of your saving throws by 1. We're not doing an attack roll, but this is awesome. We have our Font of Magic, which allows us to do meta magic, and that allows us to heighten spell, which gives the forces a spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw. You can spend 2 sorcery points to give 1 target disadvantage, so we can give 1 target disadvantage with a 1 added to the DC of that class. And then with wild magic, if we've got bend luck, we can subtract 1d4 off of their saving throw, which is all great. So that's a reaction. So that the sorcerer is actually pretty good. I always like the wild sorcerer. Now they added bards, and I always like the Bard of Eloquence because it's still around, and you get to spend an inspiration die, and you can subtract that from the saving throw of the creature. Now, it is a bonus action to do it, so if you were a Bard Sorcerer, then there is a whole bunch of stuff you could do to get people to get enemies to fail the saving throw. But, keep in mind, all of these things I'm talking about apply to any spell that requires a saving throw. And I think there are other first-level spells that I might use that might last a little longer and have a different effect. Now, finally, we've got the Wizard. We always like the Diviner Wizard because they get Portent, and they get the 2 20-sided dice, and they can replace any D20 test, which includes a saving throw made by a creature that you can see. And so if you rolled a low roll on those, you could hand those out and cause that creature to fail that saving throw. So those are some of the best features to use. Of course, there's magic items and things that we can use to also bump the DCs of spells and things like that. But for the most part, this spell didn't really change that much, other than it's now, instead of this cap on hit points, it's now a saving throw. It's not the greatest saving throw in the world, and it's a con save. I guess I can see a con save being the thing. I really wish that it had been more of like a wisdom saving throw, to I guess overcome the mental onslaught on your face or your head or your eyes or whatever. But blindness is still a very legitimate condition. You don't want to be blind. However, it is only for 1 round. All right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.